And I will turn it over now to Michael Houston from the City Auditor's Office.
Madam Chair, this is Jennifer Wood. I'm going to stop my screen share as I believe the Auditor's Office is going to run their own presentation. Give me one moment, please.
Thank you. Okay, and we have our City Auditor with us, Courtney Ruby. Please go ahead and begin your presentation.
Good afternoon, Council President Bass, members of the City Council, and I'm joined today with Assistant City Auditor Michael Houston. He is going to run the slide deck until he presents. So thank you again. I want to thank Angela, as everyone's done, for today and our inclusion in the program. Know that we are available at any time to answer questions, and we'll talk about that in the end as well. All right. Michael, can we get it in presentation mode? It is showing now full screen. I mean, not full, it is not full screen, but I will go ahead and proceed. There we go. Excellent. All right. So this is the new council member orientation today by the Office of the City Auditor. I'm Courtney Ruby. I am the City Auditor. I go by pronouns she and her and hers. And today we'll talk about the Auditor's Office. Next slide. Appears to be a delay. Okay. I don't know if you all are seeing the delay or it's just me. Our office overview, or if I should go ahead and take control of the slides.
We're still seeing the first slide.
You are still seeing it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take control of the slides. If you can stop sharing, Michael, then I will start sharing. Okay.
I'm sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Unexpectedly kicked off of Zoom. Hopefully.
No worries. No worries. We're good. And I believe everybody can see the slides. All right. We're nimble right there. The City Auditor's Office is quick and nimble. So we have our office structure here, and this shows you that the City Auditor is an elected, that I'm elected not to be a political official within the city, but I am elected to ensure our independence. And that is critical in relation to our government auditing standards and also ensuring that you can trust our work. And we'll get into that more. My staff includes myself, and we have 9 FTEs assigned to us. In addition to that, as you see on the chart, I'm not going to go through all the positions, but we have 2 administrative positions, and then the rest are audit positions. We have a couple vacancies here. We do, as of 2023, we no longer have an administrative assistance 2 position, but now we have an administrative service manager 1 position. My term is 4 years. I have the authority to audit anything and everything in the city. So I just went over our staffing. Oakland voters approved Measure X in November 2022, which, when this is implemented in the next budget cycle, that will increase us to a minimum staffing level of 14. So currently we're holding 11 positions. We will go up 3 more positions at that time. My personal vision is that we maintain the highest standard of performance and professionalism for you all, to ensure, again, that we are setting the bar high, because we're required to go in and assess government operations for you. So we have to make sure that we're maintaining the highest standards and to serve the public with the utmost integrity, and to dig deeper for greater impact, so that when you all as council members are reviewing our reports or relying on our reports, that it gives you the information to then move forward the agendas and improved performance in the city. Our mission is to conduct performance audits and in-depth investigations that return in-depth and meaningful results to the residents of Oakland by identifying, auditing, and investigating areas of government that are the most vulnerable to mismanagement, fraud, waste, and abuse. We have the power and duty, as I said before, to audit anything in the city. So we can audit all departments and agencies of the city and such other matters as the council and the mayor may request or that our office deems to be in the best interest of the public. We report our results to council, and we also advise and make recommendations to the city administrator, as well as in order to do all this, we have to have access to all city records needed to conduct our work. So what is the role of public sector auditing and why is it important? It's important because it's the cornerstone of good public governance. Auditors provide unbiased, objective assessments of whether public resources are managed responsibly and effectively to achieve intended results. Auditors help public sector organizations attain accountability and integrity, improve operations, and instill confidence among residents and stakeholders. Okay. The role of public sector auditing is to support governance responsibilities of oversight, insight, and foresight. Oversight addresses whether public sector entities are doing what they are supposed to do and serves to detect and deter public corruption. And we'll talk about that later when we talk about our whistleblower program. Insight assists decision makers by providing an independent assessment of public sector programs, policies, operations, and results. Foresight identifies trends and emerging challenges. Auditors use tools such as financial audits, performance audits, investigations, and advisory services to fulfill each of these roles. So how does my office fulfill its role to the people and to the city leadership? By providing performance audits, mandated audits, ballot measure analyses, whistleblower investigations, and more. What is a performance audit? Well, a performance audit evaluates the efficiency and effectiveness of government programs to determine if there are ways to make them work better. We use laws and leading practices as criteria to evaluate city departments and programs and make recommendations when we find opportunities for improvement. Performance audits answer questions such as, are programs achieving their intended objectives or outcomes? Are services efficient, effective, and equitable? Are legal requirements and rules being met? And are programs using evidence-based best practices? We also perform mandated audits. So mandated audits are when we're required to audit something based on the city charter or the municipal code. And they have a very important role in establishing public trust. We generally perform them every 2 years due to resource limitations, but they establish public trust through accountability, added insurance, transparency, and entrusting government to meet the will of the people. How does our process work? So initially, if it's a mandated audit, it's already determined that my team and I have to go in and do that audit as it is written in the charter or the municipal code to meet the objectives. If it is a performance audit that we've determined that is high risk, so we get together and we do an annual planning process where we talk to council, we talk to residents, we talk to other city leadership to figure out what are your concerns so that we can then come together and perform a high risk planning process to determine where are the areas that we should apply our limited resources to get the greatest impact on improving performance within the city. So that's our planning process. When we go down to the level of an audit plan, now we're planning a specific audit. So for whatever audit area we're looking at, we're reviewing organizational functions, we're reviewing all the documentation that tells us how the program's currently performing and the various aspects of it. We then set audit objectives. This tells us what the focus of our audit will be. These objectives are very critical because they answer the questions about efficiency, economy, about accountability, about equity that the audit is set to then answer. And that's the field work. So after we've determined those focused objectives, then we start to conduct interviews, observe operations, perform data testing, and document observations, all based on determining what the current state of the program or department is. As we come upon audit findings, we continually brief the auditee. So they're aware of everything that we are finding as we are briefing them. So at the various points in the audit. And if we've missed something or we need more information, then the auditee is fully briefed then to be able to provide that documentation or evidence to us. After the field work is completed, we draft an audit report. And we come back and we have a meeting with the city administration and the department to walk through the draft audit report page by page, answering questions. Again, it's another opportunity to address any omissions in the report, possibly provide more evidence if there's something that we need that the administration looks at it and says that's not exactly accurate. We do have evidence to support that we were actually doing that. Then it's that time that it's provided to us. The next phase is that we issue a final preliminary draft, and that goes out to the administration or the auditee. So they have the full draft report in their hand. It's confidential. It can't be released to the public. But at that point, the administration or the auditee, they are then preparing their response, which is public. So if you look at any of our audit reports on the city auditor's website, you will see the audit as well as the response from the auditee in relation to the audit and the recommendations. So the recommendations are really critical because these are our recommendations for improvement, how to fix the deficiencies that we've identified. After we have the response from the administration, we then bind that all together, and the final report is issued and publicly available on our reports page that you will find at the city auditor's website. Follow-up reports are recommendations that we later verify to see if the auditee has implemented the recommendations. So initially you will see in the audit report whether the auditee agrees with the recommendations of the implementation of them. And then later, when we do a recommendation follow-up process, then you will see the status of those recommendations being implemented. And at this point, I am going to turn over the PowerPoint presentation to Assistant City Auditor Michael Houston, and I'll continue to manage the slides, Michael.
Great, thank you. So City Auditor Ruby just referenced City Charter Section 403, and that establishes the authority of the City Auditor. And that section of the Charter has established the City Auditor as an elected official completely independent from the City Administration and reports, and as a position that reports directly to the residents. So the City Auditor is completely independent of the City Administration and solely accountable to the residents of Oakland. The City Charter also provides a formal mandate and organizational independence. And this is important to empower our office to exercise the full professional judgment in presenting independent and evidence-based conclusions and findings. And the Charter also establishes our office with unrestricted access to city records. Oaklanders can rely on the City Auditor's office because, in part, to the City Charter authority, but also because of government auditing standards, which our office follows. So yeah, our office adheres to generally accepted government auditing standards. It's published by the U.S. Comptroller General and the United States Government Accountability Office, which is the audit agency for the U.S. Congress. And based on the generally accepted government auditing standards, our office has developed, implemented, maintained, and regularly revised policies and procedures and standardized processes that we use to reliably and consistently conduct high quality audits with competence, integrity, objectivity, and independence. In all of our performance audits, we include a statement of compliance with generally accepted government auditing standards, which is a sort of affidavit asserting that we adhere to these standards, and therefore readers have assurance that our work has credibility. So in order to cite adherence to the generally accepted government auditing standards, we are required to verify that our organization's quality control system is suitably designed and in place, and it is actually operating effectively. And this needs to be done by a peer review process that's conducted every 3 years. It entails hosting a professional team of government auditing professionals like ourselves from other jurisdictions to review our audit work, our office environment, and the staff. And it's confirming that we have, in fact, followed government auditing standards. Our most recent peer review just occurred in September 2022, and it covered the years 2019, 2020, and 2021, and our office passed with flying colors. We have the results of these peer reviews posted on our website, dating back to 2010. So there are many performance audits that have been issued during City Auditor Ruby's third term. So that was between January 2019 and December 2022. And all these audits were conducted in accordance with with government auditing standards. And all of them are, again, publicly available on our website. And City Auditor Ruby described the difference between risk-based audits and mandated audits. And so the risk-based audits you see are a lot of topics that aren't mandated necessarily by the municipal code or by the ballot measures that were passed by Oakland voters, but were, significant issues that represented a great deal of risk to the city. Number 9 in particular was our most recent risk-based performance audit, and that's our audit of homelessness services, which was actually a result of collaboration with City Council President Bass in our office to develop several objectives around homelessness services, service delivery. And all these, again, are posted on our website. So a bit about audits in progress. Our risk-based audits include one that we are currently in process of, we're trying to wrap up, and it's an audit of the Development Services Fund. And that is the fund that stores planning, building, and development fees and is dedicated to the city's development activities. This audit focuses on identifying the factors that have led to significant annual balances in the fund. And we are also working on an audit focused on internal controls over development services fees. And on the mandated audit side, the municipal code requires the city auditor to annually audit business tax refunds on a sample basis to determine if refunds are paid correctly, were properly approved, and to make sure that management controls are in place and are working sufficiently. And the city auditor is also, this is one measure Q, that's one that we have not yet engaged in, but we're required to perform audits to ensure accountability and proper disbursement of revenue collected by the city from the special tax imposed by that measure in accordance with the objectives stated in the legislation. And ballot measure financial analysis. So pursuant to the city charter, our office is responsible for completing impartial financial analysis of city ballot measures that qualify for city elections. And these analyses require our office to quantify the financial impact on the city if passed. So 2022 was a particularly busy cycle for our office as we impartially analyzed 10 ballot measures. So these analyses are processed by the city clerk, well, completed by us, and we pass them to the city clerk and are posted publicly and provided to Oakland voters to provide objective information about the ballot measures. So onto the whistleblower program, which is another really big part of what our office does. The whistleblower program dates back to 2008 when the city the city council passed a whistleblower protection ordinance, which was sponsored by City Auditor Ruby and several members of the city council. And the whistleblower ordinance codified a complaint process for employees to report improper activities. Today, the whistleblower program continues with a commitment to deter, detect, and defend against fraud, waste, and abuse. And having a program dedicated to fraud, waste, and abuse is important because we know fraud is less likely to be detected through standard audits. And without having a dedicated program that facilitates tips from employees and members of the public, it's less likely to catch fraud. According to the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, nearly half of fraud is detected through hotline tips, and 30% are detected from other kinds of tips. And in recent years here at the City of Oakland, through our whistleblower program, 28% of the tips are from individuals who self-identified as employees. So while our office is generally interested in learning about all cases of city government not working as intended, the whistleblower program is focused on fraud, waste, and abuse committed by City of Oakland officials or employees, and or fraud, waste, and abuse that affects the City of Oakland employees, property, resources, or services. And our office uses specific definitions for fraud, waste, and abuse. So to start with waste, it's an activity that is either extravagant or irresponsible, such that it jeopardizes city resources. Abuse is misusing authority or access for personal reasons, right? And we have an example, whereas waste might be leaving keys in the car of a city automobile without regard to what happens to the car. Abuse would be someone using the vehicle for personal reasons outside of the official city business. And then fraud, which is defined as an attempt to benefit through wrongful or criminal deception. And examples of fraud are, property theft, wage theft, and not reporting expenses accurately. So a little later, I'll touch on how individuals can submit allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse, but I confidentially and anonymously. But before I do that, I should talk about Oakland Municipal Code 2.38, which is the whistleblower ordinance. The purpose of the ordinance is to protect employees who act as whistleblowers. So specifically, the whistleblower ordinance prohibits city employees and officials from silencing employees coming forward with allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse. But it also prohibits retaliatory acts against employees and officials who come forward with allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse. So we encourage employees in our presentations to them at the new employee orientation and supervisory academy and all the other meetings that we present at. We encourage employees who have been silenced or retaliated against as a direct result of filing a complaint with the city auditor's office to let us know, and we investigate those allegations, as well as the allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse. And we review all the allegations that come to us. For those investigations of which we substantiate allegations of fraud, waste, or abuse, as well as those investigations where we find things not working as intended, and on issues of significant public interest, we publish investigation reports and post them on our website. All of our public investigation reports will have recommendations to correct issues or to prevent future issues. And this is how to file a complaint on our whistleblower hotline. The whistleblower hotline is available both online and on a telephone dispatch service. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year round. There are translation services available in over 150 languages. Whistleblowers are assigned unique report keys, and they can create their own passwords, so they can communicate provide evidence, provide their testimony, upload photos and audio files and communicate with the dispatchers without us ever having to talk with them directly, without us having to hear their voice, without us ever knowing their IP address or email address. So the whistleblower hotline is available for confidential and anonymous reporting of allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse. And here are some of the whistleblower investigation reports that we have issued in Auditor Ruby's last term. These are all published on our website, and we encourage you to take a look at them. And with that, I think I'll hand it back over to Auditor Ruby, who'll wrap up the presentation.
Thank you so much, Assistant City Auditor Houston. So I hope that this presentation gives you insight into what the City Auditor's Office does. As Michael stated, we are completely independent. That ensures that you can rely on the information, both city leaders, as you look to do your critical role in the city, as well as the residents, that they make sure that they are in partnership with me in holding city government accountable. The open lines of communication is such a critical part of how we can do the best together for the city. So we'll have regular check-ins with you at any time. If there's an audit report that comes out, you want to be briefed, you want more information, we can set that up. We will reach out to you in the next week or so, all council members, both new and former council members, not formally elected council members, to schedule briefings if you would like one at this time. And we also want to find out what are the areas of concerns that you have. It may take some time for the new council members as you come on board to really start to hear the different issues that some of the constituents have. So please continue to be in touch with us as far as if items come up. That is really how we can best fulfill our responsibility as the oversight agency, is knowing when I know what the concerns are going on in the city, then they certainly come through the hotline. And I want to stress that that is just such an effective tool. So as you move throughout the city, and we can make sure that you all have cards on the hotline to give to residents. But it really helps us because it can be a significant issue of fraud, waste, and abuse that comes through the hotline. We've also used the hotline in the past to inform us on critical audits. Because things can come in anonymously, then it has provided avenues for the employees or residents to provide information into us on an audit area we're working on, with being anonymous or holding that information confidentially. We follow up on presentations. We provide follow-up audit presentations to the council. So after we issue an audit, then we can come before the city council and brief the council members on that. Michael talked about the collaboration on potential audits. The homelessness series was definitely born from the desire of myself and Council President Bass when we came into office in 2019, of wanting to address our concerns around homelessness. And then the city council came together and helped address the objectives and provided funding to assist us in doing those audits. We have annual audit planning meetings, which I just talked about, that will reach out to you and find out what your areas of concern are so that we can make sure that we're bringing that into our annual audit plans, determining the risk. When I talked about Measure X, a couple of things that we wanted to clean up, the charter section for the city auditor with Measure X. So it also includes an annual report out that we will prepare, in addition to preparing an annual work plan, so that you'll get insight into our annual work plan as well. So with that, I just want to say that it's a privilege to be in front of you and inform you about what we do from the Independent Auditor's Office today. And Michael and I are available to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.